Yeah, my name is Conor and I play bass in Conjurer. I have been in Conjurer for, I think, just over 5 years now, so I'm not the original bassist. They asked me to be the bassist when they first started, but I just started university, and I've been a guitar player basically, well, not all my life, but have normally always been a guitar player, and so it was a combination of things like I'm not going to have the money to travel and be in a proper band, and I wasn't that comfortable playing bass, so I said no initially, and they got a proper bass player who was great and all that, but that didn't work out. And then just as I was coming out of university, they basically rang me and told me I was in the band. They didn't even ask that time. But yeah, that was about, I think, 5 years ago or so. I think it was like 5 years this summer. So it was, Maya hadn't come out yet, but Maya had just been recorded. So I think it was after the I EP or one or whatever. Yeah, I want to say I joined in June 2017, something around that time, and then Maya came out March 2018. Yeah, I definitely hopped on at a very good time. Jumping in at that point, they had started working their way up, and I basically missed out on having to play all the little shitholes, and it was great. They'd already done all the hard work, and were starting to build a name for themselves, and then I just got to hop in. And say, luckily, because we'd all been mates before, and I've been in bands with all of the guys before, just in our shitty little local scenes. And so stepping in from that point, it wasn't too weird because I've been playing with these guys most of my adult life, and I'd been around it. I helped them do the first demos for the EP and whatnot, and Dan had always just been sending me oh, here's a new Conjurer idea and stuff like that, just to listen to and get an opinion on. So it wasn't too much of a step to join the band from that sense, but it was definitely it was more of a jump in terms of say playing bass, and then oh, I've never played bass live before, and performing and all that sort of stuff. It's been kind of weird, to be honest, because so when I went to university, I was studying music technology because I'd kind of given up on the whole being in a band rock star thing, and was more focusing okay, well, I enjoy mixing and stuff and demoing, and oh, maybe I want to work in a studio and all of that sort of stuff. And so yeah, joining a band anyway was kind of oh, okay, well, I thought I wasn't doing this anymore, but then especially you say, the band to then just take off, it's gone wilder than we ever could have expected. We always kind of say, we got to do more on Maya, the first album, than we ever expected to do as a band at all. And so it's kind of weird and surreal looking back, but at the time you just take it one step at a time. It's oh, we've had this tour offer, we've had this opportunity presented to us, so we basically just said yes to everything we could. And now on the second album, it's more about refining that, and okay, what next steps do we want to take, rather than we're in a band and we've released an album and we're touring and whatnot, and say it's kind of how do we really dig our roots in and not just be a flash in the pan, I guess. That's the tricky bit. The personal side of it is the tricky bit, because we're at the awkward stage now. I don't want to say the burden of success, because we're not. I wouldn't call us a successful band in that sense yet at all. But it's we're at the point now where we've grown to where we're busy enough where it's hard to maintain a full-time normal job and normal life, but also we're not making any money from this yet personally, which we're never expecting to be millionaires. We play the wrong music for that, and we're fully aware. But say we're in that weird, awkward spot where some of us are having to get jobs where we can work on tour, but that means when you are on tour, you're on don't enjoy it as much because you don't get to sit and relax and chill with everyone. You have to be on your laptop. Some of us has jobs that we have to leave and then hope we get rehired and stuff like that. So it's legitimately the biggest stress in my life, is balancing this with an actual life, because at the end of the day everyone needs money and that sort of thing. But at the same time, we all kind of agreed, obviously initially with Jan, our first drummer, but then we've got Noah in as well, and that was kind of one of the main questions that he asked and we asked of him when he joined, was we've all agreed that when we started this band it was early to mid-20s. We're now just over that line, kind of getting into mid-late 20s, but we're gonna do this now and push it as far as we can, because absolute worst case, if it flops and fails, we can get shitty retail jobs and just work for the rest of our lives anyway. We're not gonna have this opportunity again if we put it off and play it safe. So it's stressful and it's anxiety inducing, and it is, say, the main thing in my life that worries me is balancing this as a person, but I don't want to do anything else at the moment. So new drummer came from Noah plays in a band called Polar. and we kind of knew him from around the scene anyway. Brady had met him before, but we before Jan left, there was a couple of tours he couldn't do just through work. Again, work and life balances and whatnot. So Noah was always going to be filling in on a month-long Europe tour we did with a band called Celeste. But then before that, Jan then told us he was leaving, and so Noah was still like a fill-in, but it was like, okay, well, we'll see how it goes with this guy. The original plan was to also then try out some other drummers as well, but he just did such a good job and like fit right in personality-wise as well. He's an outstanding drummer, but I hate saying it, but he's a lovely person as well, and like he's just a great guy. So it kind of quickly became clear over that month. It was like, well, we could try other drummers, but we'd be forcing it and probably end up back with Noah anyway. So let's just see if he wants to join. And luckily he did. I haven't asked. He might be regretting it. The main thing that our plan is just kind of like we did on mine, just more touring and touring and touring. Personally, I would like to like get to some places that we didn't get to, like South America and Asia and all that sort of stuff. Just to have the experience of going to those places, because a lot of places I haven't been anyway, even just on personal trips, never mind as a band. And so yeah, the goal is just to get out and tour this album and see where it takes us. We don't have anything that's like, oh, we need to be at this stage on download or anything like that. It's no goals like that. It's just do this how we want to do it, and wherever it takes us, if that's the heights of the mountain, great. If it's not, fine. Say the personal and professional goal is to just do this how we want to do it and see where we end up.